911. It's a number dialed over 240 million times each year. In all cases, these calls are answered by trained professionals, and many are certified NENA ENPs. Let's talk to one of these professionals, unedited and completely off the cuff.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
NENA, the National Emergency Number Association, and the NANCI-approved Standards Development Organization, has created the Emergency Number Professional Accreditation, specifically for public safety professionals. ENP certification establishes the benchmark for performance, signifying a broad-based competence in the public safety field. Successful certification completion demonstrates an individual's mastery of the knowledge base requirements for an emergency management position. So join me as we talk to yet another new ENP, unedited and completely off the cuff. Hey, it's Fletch. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. Today we're sitting down with Annie VanderWal, brand new ENP from Chesapeake Police Department. Annie, welcome to Off the Cuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you here.
So like you said, my name is Annie VanderWal. I'm a dispatcher of almost 7 years. I've been working for the Chesapeake Police Department the entire time. I was a stay-at-home mom for most of my age. I didn't become a dispatcher until late in life. This is actually my very first profession other than being a mom.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know, right? So, unfortunately, because I'm behind the times, a lot of my coworkers have been doing this a lot longer and are still younger than I am. So I am used the EMP to gain the knowledge that I needed to go with the experience I already had outside of the room to kind of mold the two and catch up a little bit.
So you have all the life experience, though, that the younger kids don't quite have yet. They'll get it. So
Absolutely.
how do they interact with you with the age difference? Are you
So actually,
are you the mom or?
I am the dispatch mom. I have lots of kids in dispatch. They come to me. They talk to me about things in dispatch that they're having issues with. They talk to me about things in life they're having issues with, and they have a trust in me. I play that role for them.
So you're a dispatcher. You're a dispatcher 3, so that's obviously higher than 1 and 2, right?
Absolutely. In our center, the 1s are the newly released trainees. They usually serve there for a year, maybe 2, and then they become the 2s. There's also a second step in the 2 level where they can become a CTO to be a trainer. Then there's the 3s, what most people call senior dispatchers. We work under the supervisors for the squad, assisting in paperwork, managing the squad, and we cover the shift when they're on leave.
No, you're the mom of the shift.
I'm the mom, and that's okay. I don't mind that. I like that role. It gives me a chance to not just teach them about things in the center, but teach them about life outside.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you add it all together, Annie, it probably makes a bigger, better package, right? Having both of that. You can't just have a lot of one and none of the other. That doesn't make you a full person, I think. There's
so much experience to be gained outside of the center, and you bring a new, fresh perspective to the profession when you bring that experience into it. I don't do things the way some people do, and they're like, that's not the way it's done. But that's the way I see it. And sometimes it works out better, sometimes it doesn't, but you don't know till you try.
Working with the younger generation, did this change your view on life at all?
Yes, a little bit. It's opened up a fresh perspective of, I was always a giver, never took care of myself. This new generation, they are very mindful of who they are and what they need. And that's helped me in this profession, be mindful of myself, learn how to be mindful of myself and take care of myself so that I can continue to help others. It's opened up a whole new world of being aware, not just of myself and my emotions and where I'm at, but of where other people are at as well.
Yeah, no, and it's really kind of cool being in that training or mom position or dad position, right? You're fostering someone else's future, and that's just a really good feeling.
It's interesting seeing how many of them come into dispatch and don't plan on staying. It's just another step in their chain. They're learning some skills here. They're using it as an income source while they study for something else. And that's kind of sad to see, because I can see where this profession can become a life career. I want to make it a life career. There's just, once you get to a certain point, you kind of reach a stalemate where there's no progression. They don't see where they can go from here with the career. And I like to open up, and studying for the ENP opened up so many avenues of where the career can take you. It's not just in the room. There's technology you can invest in yourself in. There's all this mental, mindful wellness that you can invest yourself in, sharing with other people. There's so many avenues that can take you outside of the room. It's not just working the center.
No, that's really cool. So you got started late in life in dispatch, and you said that's your first career job. Why so late in life?
Like I said, I stayed home, raised my kids. I stayed home when the last one started kindergarten. I started looking for a career that I could stay with and grow in, and I wasn't quite finding the right fit. I worked shift work at a local convenience store. Definitely not the right fit. I helped a friend start a hair salon, managed that for 3 years with him, and helped him get that business off the ground. And that was successful. He actually has me come in and train new employees still, but it just still wasn't the right fit. And my brother is a police officer with the Chesapeake Police Department. He says, you need to try dispatch. I think that's exactly where you need to be. And the minute I stepped into the room after my initial interview, I knew I wasn't going anywhere else.
Wow. Do you remember your first day working?
My first day in the training academy, absolutely. I wanted to take it all in. I couldn't get enough of it. I didn't get back into the actual room. We had a trailer out back of the police department where we had our academy, and we didn't actually get back into the actual room, the center, until 2-3 weeks into the training academy. So after my initial exposure to the room, where I felt all that energy that was happening, didn't get to experience it again for a couple weeks. And that was kind of frustrating for me. I wanted to get back in there. I wanted to learn, but I couldn't drink enough of it in. And it's been like that ever since I started. I just want to learn everything I possibly can.
You know, it's an amazing feeling when you get to help somebody you don't even know, but you know you did something really, really good, and you probably changed their life. It's hard to explain that feeling to someone who's never done that before.
A couple of years ago, I had a major mindset change. And I managed to learn a mindset of service in this profession. And it's amazing how when you change the outlook of, it's not just a job, it's not just coming in and getting a paycheck, but it's actually, I get to serve the community that I grew up in, my kids grew up in, my father grew up in. I'm second generation Chesapeake, third generation from my kids. We love the city, and I get to serve the community every day I go to work. And I never know how I'm going to serve it, but I know I'm going to get to, because that's my job. Every day I get to go in and serve someone And that's just the mindset I go to work with. And it's a wonderful mindset. And it's changed the most stressful job in the world into a healing job for me. I go to work to heal. And people are amazed by that when I tell them. But I do. I go to work to heal.
That is amazing. So what turned you on to an ENP? I mean, where did that come from all of a sudden?
It's just something I wanted. I found that it had the knowledge I needed, the knowledge I craved to know about dispatch. I wanted to know everything there was, not necessarily the details, but I needed a broad knowledge. I needed a big overview of what dispatch was, from where a call started to how it came in to how we answered it and what everybody else did. What was the industry doing? I know what my center does, but I want to know what the industry is doing, where it's going, what it's becoming. And so this was that first step. And now that I've taken the first step, I know where to go to take the other steps.
No, that's great. And you're in an exciting area of the country. Is Chesapeake considered part of the NCR, National Capital Region?
No, it's not. It's actually down in Hampton Roads near Virginia Beach and Norfolk.
Oh, okay.
We're down there. I actually live about 5 miles from North Carolina. You pass my house as you go into Nag's Head. So
I'll be sure to wave next time.
Yeah, just wave. So we are part of that Hampton Roads conglomerate down here.
Okay. Still another great area. Beautiful.
It's a wonderful area to live. We love it here.
No, that's fantastic. So what did you think about the ENP test process when you got involved and you decided you were going to take it? You probably ordered the book or you got some materials. I mean, what were your first thoughts on that?
So I got the manual and I started reading through it and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. This is just too much. I don't even understand the first paragraph, let alone how am I going to do this? And so I started looking and I found Tracy Eldridge's On Scene First Study Group. And that was just amazing. She opened it up, gave you a basis to study from, just the basics. And then from the basics she gives you, you can just go from there. And you can branch out into that body of knowledge that's within the study manual and just start taking it all in, taking as much as you can. You can't ever get it all. You're never going to get it all. But
Right.
Just start taking in and soaking it in like a sponge. I actually sat through 2 of her 13-week sessions, or 16 or 17, however long they were. I sat through 2 of her sessions. I did last winter, and I did the spring session with her as well. And I never actually got to do a live session. I did them all pre-recorded, listened on my earbuds in dispatch in between whatever I was doing. And just whenever she recommended watch something or read something, I was there. So, and then the last 3 weeks before the exam, it was all hands on deck, just studying and studying and studying.
Did you do the test remotely or did you go to a center?
I went to a center. There's one here locally that I was able to go to and take the exam. And I'll tell you, when I walked out of that exam, the email popped up on my phone and I said, nope, I'm not going to open it until I'm at home somewhere safe, because I knew for sure I had failed. I knew for sure. But when I opened it up, my husband was right there with me. And I don't think I've ever cried that hard in relief. It was just so amazing to see that preliminary pass pop up. The relief was overwhelming.
And again, if you haven't taken that test, because it's grueling, it's 300 grueling questions, right? Or 150 grueling questions.
150 grueling questions, and some of them you don't know, you've never read, you've never seen. You have to just go with what you do know and do your best guess. Never second guess yourself.
There's always one answer that is absolutely correct. And the other 3 may be close. And those are the tough ones, because then you've really got to dissect the sentence and really have to understand what it's asking. But if you do that, there is one clear clean answer, and
You know,
you can get through it.
Before I walked into this test, I was used to taking the APCO CTO exams and their recerts, and I took the CCS exam with APCO, and they're pretty straightforward exams. Any of the classes you take with NINA or APCO, the tests that are associated with them, pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
There's an obvious answer. This was not that. Do not expect that from this exam.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you said. All the answers are possible, but there's one clear right answer.
Yeah, we call them distractor answers.
Very much so. Very much so.
It's being, I was on the NIB for 12 years, and now on the national board, I'm still the liaison to the NIB. So we sit down once a year and we get the questions pulled for the next year, and we go through every question with every possible answer and all the distractors, and we make sure that they're well written, and we have a good time making.
I'm sure you do. I can imagine the sarcasm in that room as you're putting these answers together, because it would just be so much fun going, ooh, that's close. Let's do that one,
Yeah. I've had people come up to me and go, I had a question that had to be yours because you're a real SOP. What was it? Oh, yeah, that was mine. There you go.
Yeah, no. I think the one question that sticks out in my mind, I had never heard. I didn't even know. And I was like, how does that even relate to 911? It took me just this long to think about it. And I was just like, well, it doesn't matter because you've got to answer it. So just answer it. And I did. I answered it to the best of my ability. And probably that one is one that I got wrong, but it's okay.
See, that's the one thing. They don't tell you what you do get wrong. How you did on each section,
Yes.
but you don't know specific questions. And I think that would probably be beneficial. But, there's a certain logic behind keeping all of that private, because the test doesn't leak out that way, right? With questions and real answers.
I don't mind that. Just getting the summaries of where I need to focus more study at. I kind of knew already, but now I know. This section you need to work on more. This section, hey, you're good there, just a little bit more. But it definitely showed me my strengths in the profession and where maybe I need to look to progress.
What section did you do the best and worst on?
So my best, believe it or not, was in operations management. Okay. Absolutely. It was like a 94% in operations management. My worst, legislation. I knew that going in. One of my coworkers, he was helping me try and study legislation because he works closely with the legislation for 911. He's on one of the committees for it. I just don't have that. I never have been good with history and politics and democracy and all that good stuff. It's not me, but that's okay. I got through that part. It didn't bring me too far down. And then the next one was, of course, telecom, technology. The legacy stuff I'm not good at, but that the next generation, the computer based, that's all me.
Oh, wow. So that's interesting. So you did well on that section. How'd you do with all the acronyms?
Acronyms aren't a problem.
Okay.
No, see, not a problem.
A lot of the new kids have problems with the acronyms, and I'm not sure why.
I'm not sure either. Me and Quizlet, we're best friends now. If you go on Quizlet, there's tons of flashcards for the acronyms. Just go through them until you know them. It's a wonderful learning tool.
That's really something that's really become very popular over the past couple of years. Way back when I took my ENP, 13, 14 years ago, we didn't have that kind of stuff. It was just raw, read the book, study. The study groups were there, but Tracy's obviously wasn't there. And there were very structured study groups that helped, but they weren't like interactive like you have today. They were pretty much just online reference material. So it was a
Yeah.
little difficult, but I'm glad to see that all this new training has come to fruition. Did you work as a CTO in the center as you came up?
I did. I did. I absolutely did. I didn't have. I've had a couple of trainees, and part of my job as a 3 is to sit with the trainees before they're released from each of the radios.
Okay.
So I sit with them for their final couple of weeks, just to make sure they've got everything down, pass on some veteran tips and tricks.
Now, how's your center set up? Do you have call takers and dispatchers all one, or?
So we have designated call takers, just a couple of them, but almost everybody in the center is trained to do everything. And that's what it takes to get fully released, is you have to learn to do everything.
How about different disciplines? Do you have police, fire, medical, or?
We cover all of it. Police, fire, medical. It's all.
So you don't have fire dispatchers or medical dispatchers?
No, fire covers fire and medical. The fire department is all one.
Okay.
We have 2 main police radios plus the records channel. So.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to be pretty common. They break out fire EMS to one particular person, because the departments are kind of organized that way, and then law is usually separated.
Yep.
But anybody can do anything, I guess, right?
Yep, we're all required to be able to do everything.
How many do you have on staff in the center on a shift?
Our shifts usually have day shift about 10.
Okay.
10 to 12. Night shift can vary depending on what time of night, but we usually staff them about the same.
Okay. And what kind of shifts do you run? 6s or
12 hours?
Okay.
12 hours. 2 on, 2 off. 2 days on, 2 days off with 3-day weekends.
Oh, that's interesting. So when I worked 12s, I did 4 on, 3 off, 3 on, 4 off, and then every 2 weeks flip between days and nights. I like that schedule because coming off of a 3-day week day shift, you had 4 days plus the Sunday all day before you had to be back. Boy, you take 3 days off of work and you got a 10-day stretch.
No, we have 4-month rotations. So once you're assigned to a night shift, you're on there for at least 4 months.
Okay. Wow, that's got to be tough.
Well, if you're a night person, which we do have quite a few of them that prefer nights, it's not bad. Me, it kills me. And I just started a night rotation on Monday night. And so I've got 4 months ahead of me through the holidays to do this night thing. So
what's your 12? 6 to 6, 7 to 7?
Yep, 6 to 6.
Yep. Yeah. 4 months of 6 to 6 on nights. I don't know if I'd like that or not.
Well, it's the job, so you do what you do.
Wow, that's interesting. So you just come off of 4 months of days.
Well, actually, I've been on day shift now for about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Luckily my number hadn't come up yet, and there were enough people that wanted to stay on nights or go to nights that, as a 3, I'm only competing against the other 3s with my rotation, and we had enough 3s that wanted to stay on nights that I didn't have to worry about it, but it came up this time. So
wow. So for Chesapeake, do you get classified as a first responder?
No.
In Virginia?
No. Not yet.
I thought
Not yet. We're working on it. They're working hard.
Yeah, that's I know it's getting there little by little, but I thought Virginia was one of the ones that had reclassified.
Not yet. We're pushing for it. It's the bill's there. It's it's gone through the committee. We're just trying to get it passed through. They're trying to figure out how they're going to finance it.
Wow. So let me ask you, with your agency, do they support you going to different conferences and getting involved in the industry?
Absolutely. They pay for trainings. I went to the APCO NINA interoperability conference last October. They're forward with the trainings. They encourage trainings. They get some pushback from some people, but most people like me, we love going to trainings. I love going and learning, and they encourage that. Unfortunately, they don't pay for our NINA memberships. This is something I had to do on my own, and I don't mind that. This is something I wanted, and so I went ahead and did it. But we are all APCO members, and so APCO trainings, I grab them as they come. But this is something that I did on my own.
What about your ENP? Did they pay for that?
No, this was all me.
Wow. You know, a lot of agencies are starting to realize that, you know, that's a probably one of the more revered training programs and certifications that's out there.
It is.
And it's an ANSI certified, you know, body in NINA, right? So starting to see a little bit of uptick in municipalities starting to pay for that, but not enough.
I know Virginia Beach has quite a few, but as far as Chesapeake, I've talked to some of the people who've been around, and they don't know of anyone that's ever had ENP in Chesapeake.
Oh, wow.
I may just very well be the first.
Wow. So now your job is to go out and recruit.
I already am. I have a couple of people who are already studying. One, not so much because she wants the ENP, she just wants the knowledge. She saw me studying some stuff, so heard what I was studying. She's like, I want that. And so I shared it with her.
What did you find to be the most difficult that you had, the stuff that you had to learn? What was just to you was not clicking?
Besides the legislation that you just had to memorize, the legacy phone, all that telephone, routers, switches, tandem, relay, all that stuff. Just once it clicked, it was fine. But just getting it all to fall into place was just so hard.
What made it click? Do you remember?
Seeing it laid out, I think Tracy showed a diagram that just had it laid out in a specific way. And then just deciding that these were the borders and the boundary people, and this was the processing people. I worked it out in my mind somehow, and it just said, if it says this, this is what it's going to be. If it says that, this is what it's going to be. And that's how it worked out for me. Don't ask me now, because I have to go back and look at my notes. But, you know, some stuff just drops as soon as you finish the test.
Yeah. No, but I agree. I think if you draw it out, I always tell people, draw out the network that the question is asking. And if they're saying, if this particular, you know, here's your network environment, and if this is broken, you know, what happens here? Draw it out and put a big X, and then just follow it with your finger. And you're going to go, oh, I can't go here. This is where it's going to stop. And that's how you get through those questions. It's a logical flow. It's like water. It's got to flow from one side to the other. And if the pipe is broken somewhere, it's only going to get this far.
That's how you find out. That's how I figured out the loss of service. Okay. So what's not getting through? Well, where does it have to come from?
Yep.
Where's the blockage? And there's your answer.
Yep. Now there's one question on the test. It's an old question, so I don't mind talking about it. But they give you a network, and they give you a specific outage, and they say, well, how do you get calls answered to 911? And the only thing you can do is to put a body in the central office locally to answer the call at that point. And if you go through the questions and the possibilities, well, Doesn't seem like a likely thing that you do, but that's the only thing that you can do.
Nowadays, we'll just reroute it to a different center and let them answer it.
Well, yeah. Again, now that things are electronic and the network makes things a lot more reroutable.
It sure does.
Because everything is a big mesh environment. And, you can get from here to there a million different ways. So where are you taking your career from here? Where do you want to go?
Well, I have an interview tomorrow for supervisor position within the center. So hopefully if we can get that one solidified. I've always been looking at training. I want to get into training. And as far as education, I can't decide yet. I've looked at all the other certifications that NINA has, APCO has. I've also looked into a master's degree in public safety administration.
Wow.
So we've got all our options on the table.
Basically, you're a slacker.
I am a slacker. When it comes to learning, I can never have enough knowledge. I am always studying.
What, you don't have your PhD or something? Come on, stop being a slacker.
No, look, I raised 6 kids. If that's not a PhD, I don't know what is.
I can't, you said that before we started the call recording. 6 kids. I can't imagine raising 6 kids. Talk about life experience.
I won't talk about the year I had 9, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. Well, that's what makes you such a good supervisor of all the kids at work. That's probably just as easy as your home life. The
skills you learn, organizing and time management and multitasking as a mom of that many people, there's no comparison. I mean, I know when I perform my best work, I know when to get things done, and I know when I'm going to start slacking. And so if I don't have it done by a certain time of day, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
I know that about myself. And so I get everything done in the morning because I am a morning person. And then in the afternoon, I've got time to myself. Whatever I'm doing at work, it's just for me.
That's mom management, man. That's the way it works.
It is. Absolutely. Mom management is amazing. And I've been able to apply that to my work.
No, that's fantastic. So what advice do you have for somebody who's just out there sitting on the fence, whether they should do their ENP or not do their ENP? What mom advice do you have for them?
Just do it. I mean, the longer you sit on the fence, the more you're going to talk yourself out of it. Just do it. Just start. Find that study group, jump in. And I'm going to recommend Tracy just because she makes it so much fun. Just jump in and do it. If you're not sure, watch the videos. Just learn about it. You don't even have to start studying. Just watch them. And the best part about find out what knowledge is there to have.
Yeah.
Learn what knowledge there is to have.
They're all free, right? It doesn't cost you.
They're all free.
Yeah.
Just jump in and start learning. And eventually the knowledge is going to suck you in. And you're going to want to do it because you're going to have the knowledge then. Just baby steps at first. Don't overwhelm yourself like I did.
Annie, you are a total inspiration. I really can't get over how much you've done and what you've done in your life. And now you got those 3 letters behind your last name. And most people, when they jump on to do the interview, I have to remind them to add the ENP. You showed up with it behind your name. Good for you. You get an extra gold star for that one.
Thank you very much. My daughter calls it my alphabet soup.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, Annie VanderWal, Chesapeake Police Peace App, thank you so much for joining us. Great story. Best to you and your whole big, huge family.
Thank you. Very much, Fletch. It's been wonderful.
All right. I hope to catch up with you at a conference one day.
Absolutely. Look for me. Can't miss the white hair.
Okay.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.